Okay, we're going to talk about plate-to-plate transfer for intaglio right now. So this would be what you would want to do if you want to take your line etching plate and combine it with, let's say you're going to print your line etching plate in black, and you're going to print your aquatint plate in a color. So it'd be a way to add color to that black and white line drawing that you've already got going. So what we're going to do is we're going to transfer the image from your black and white plate, which is already kind of etched, and we're going to transfer that to your aquatint plate so that you can tell exactly where it goes in perfect register, so that you know where to put your marks for the aquatint and all that kind of thing. So I've got my registration matrix all made here. You want to make sure that you have that all set. I have mine all set up now. It's facing up and everything, and so I'm ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and put my line etched plate down. So I've got that inked up over here. So here I have my line etched plate. It's inked up in black just because that's the easiest thing to kind of see on the other plate. And what I want to do is I want to transfer this image from here onto a blank plate, a plate that doesn't have anything on it yet. I just want to transfer it over there so I can aquatint it or dry point on it or whatever. It's a way of adding multiple colors. So I've got this all lined up. I want to be really careful to make sure that it's in the right spot. And then once it is, I take my, again, a piece of wet blotted paper. You want to make sure that you wet the paper and make sure that you blot it just like you would normally. You don't want to have any changes in the sort of normal routine that you would do. And I'm going to go ahead and just set that down like this. And then normally what we would do is we would go ahead and mark our crosshairs. So we would go ahead and put like the crosshair marks on here, which I'll do anyway, with a pencil, real lightly on the back so I know where this paper hits. But what we're going to do this time is we're actually going to tape it. So tape is always a printmaker's friend, but especially for this process. So what I like to do is I like to just take a little piece of tape and put it here at the top, the direction it's going in through the rollers, so it doesn't get all boogered up. So I'm going to tape that down, and then I'll put my piece of newsprint over the top of it. And then I'll put my felts down, and so we kind of have a different arrangement of felts than some of the earlier demos, but they all kind of work the same. And that's, you want to make sure that you have the thin blanket first and then the thick one, and then the pusher on top of that. So we want to go ahead and lay our felts down on top of this sandwich here. Kind of line it up on the rollers, make sure that this is all set, and then we'll go ahead and, there's no wrinkles in it, make sure that it's all set, smooth and flat, and we'll go ahead and run that through the press and we'll see what it looks like when it comes out on the other side. Okay, so I've run my plate with the line etching etched on it through the press, and I've taped down the paper, so let's see how this looks when we get this out of here. So you probably want to make sure you're using a clean piece of newsprint as opposed to what I just did, which had something on it, so don't do that. Okay, so now we're set, and so now what I'm going to do, since the tape is holding the paper down, I know that I can peel this back, and okay, so there's my print. I have my image on it. I can take this plate out, and I'm done with it now, because I've got my ink that's on the paper, right? So it's transferred onto the paper. So what I want to do now is I want to put my second plate in exactly the same spot. So you want to make sure they're the same size, and make sure that you got everything kind of lined up. Figure out which spot is the top, and make sure that you kind of keep that straight too. Sometimes that can get confusing. So this plate's just a touch bigger, but I'm going to go ahead and line it up at the top here, and then I'll know that that's kind of the situation. And then when I flop this back over, what will happen is the ink is going to get transferred from this a wet piece of paper that has the wet oil-based ink still on it. It's going to get transferred over, and then it'll transfer onto that blank plate. So I'm going to go ahead and run that through the press, put a piece of newsprint over it, nice clean piece of newsprint, and the felts, and I'll run that back through, and then we'll see what it looks like on the other side. Okay, so I should have transferred my drawing from the line etching from my first plate onto this blank plate now. So with any luck, this has all worked. So I'm going to go ahead and take the tape off, and again, the tape kind of hammers the back of your piece of paper, so this is more of a proof than it is anything else. But go ahead and then we'll just take the proof off of there, right? So then if you look, you'll see that on this blank plate I have transferred exactly and precisely all of the marks from the first plate onto the second one. So I'm able to see on this plate, okay, that's where this lady with the crazy, you know, umbrella hat is. And if I wanted to aqua tint this plate now, I could spray an aqua tint onto it, and then I would be able to go in there and block out the areas I wanted to leave white, and I could do any kind of aqua tint technique that I wanted to on that particular plate. And so, for example, what I did on a different plate, too late, come back to that. Okay, so scratch that. So now I have this plate all set and it's ready to go, and I'm able to, you know, do whatever I want. I could also, I could have put a hard ground on this plate first, so I could have hard grounded the plate and then transferred this, and I could do 2 line etching plates over the top of each other. I could print one in blue and the other one in red and mix the colors. It's just a way of transferring an image from one plate to the other to keep it in register. And as long as you use your registration matrix and you keep everything straight, you ought to be able to print these 2 plates together in color, and I'll show you how that works here in a little while, and that'll hopefully you know, help you figure out how to print, you know, both a black plate and say a blue plate both at the same time.